We're live.
I forgot to turn my phone ringer off, and it's making noises at me because
Oh, no.
I'm a professional. Yeah, shut up.
Of course.
Not you guys. I mean my phone. Let's see. What's
Yeah.
yeah, wait, I can't
Yeah.
see I'm an old man. That's what I do.
It's a great way
All
to
right.
start.
Hi everybody. Welcome to So Local Live and also to the Florida for Change cast with Sam Ronan, our co-host, who is in that fine organization. He's brought a guest who looks about 12, except for the beard, on with us today, Harrison Lundy.
I'm 20, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So he's brought a guest along, and Harrison's going to wade in on some of the stuff we talk about, and Sam's going to tell you how Harrison came to be here and why you want to be more like him if you're, young.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh. Okay, sure.
busy.
So this is one of my favorite things to talk about, and I feel like I give a speech every day because this kid is amazing. So he was one of my canvassers at Dream Defenders, pushing for Richie Floyd last year. He is the first person in the state of Florida to try to unionize a Starbucks. He has that distinction. We know this for a fact from labor conventions where he came up as a topic. Beyond that, he's a member of Tampa DSA. He's working with Dream Defenders. He recently yelled at Tampa City Council so good that he actually got an acknowledgement of neo-Nazis last week from the mayor 5 days late. I don't think she was going to do it, and it happened 5 hours after he yelled at them. So Harrison is the future and is going to lead us all into the great horizon. As Fred says, oh, well done, Harrison. Yeah, well done, Harrison.
Can I say something real quick about the Starbucks thing?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Very few people know that outside of like the labor circle. I've never been like public about it. I've never been full on public about it. Yeah. So I guess that barrier is broken today. I don't know why I never was.
Well, we outed you. Sorry.
Yeah. No, thank you. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
As I drink a Starbucks right now, I hit the union.
Well, you definitely got outed.
Starbucks guy's name? Isn't it Howard Schultz?
Yes.
Yes. That's the CEO right now.
Yeah. Howard Schultz is going to come and kick your ass now. I'm sorry. That's our fault.
Oh no.
I don't know. I think Harrison could take Howard Schultz for sure.
I don't even work there anymore.
I don't know.
So.
Okay. So Harrison, what was that experience like? Did you know how to do that? Did you have some good guidance on that? What?
I had good guidance, but I had no idea.
Well, did the shop end up unionizing or no?
No. So that's why I think maybe that's why I have a bit of like, I guess like imposter syndrome, because like yes, I was the first person to attempt it, but like it didn't work. I compare it to the stores that recently it did work out. I don't know. Maybe it's just like an internal thing, but I'm like, I don't know.
All right.
Man.
Well, I'm going to sound like a really old guy here because I am, but also I didn't really start on my path to local activism, political activism, social activism until the last 10 or 12 years. Okay. And I did some things that had never been done in Pasco County before. And they were successful in one sense in that we drew a crowd. We got people to come and participate. We got coverage, earned media coverage from local TV and news organizations. But what didn't happen is the people that we were really supportive of none of them got elected. Right. But what we did is we made an imprint on people at least in West Pasco County about, who the Democrats that run for local office are. We raised their eye line, their visibility. We got them a lot of their first ever interviews, of any kind. But many of these candidates had never run or even been interviewed for anything before. So I get what you're saying about it didn't work, but it did. And how I knew the Vote Fest thing worked was I then got hired for a statewide organization called For Our Future. And we were out for progressive candidates in the 2018 cycle. I showed up for my first day of training in Orlando wearing my Vote Fest T-shirt, and somebody said, "These are people I've never met before. Did you go to Vote Fest?" And I was like, the guy that made Vote Fest. Like people from outside my area recognized that shirt and knew about this event in Pasco County of all places. So what I'm saying is, don't buy into the imposter syndrome. Obviously, you had a thing that you wanted to do. You worked very hard to do it, and that's a success. Did you learn something?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I got invited to Tallahassee in March with Working Families Lobby Corps, and that's why I was gone for a week. I didn't tell anybody in my store that, but now people know. I literally went to a couple stores that were publicly unionizing in Tallahassee, and I went to literally see Anna Escamani with a couple of them one day.
Nice.
So, like, even though I personally knew I was like, well, Riverview's so moderate, so the politics of everybody's kind of moderate. I don't know if a union would work out right now. There were still places like Tallahassee that I was like, let me spread the union love, I guess. I don't know.
Right. May not work here, but it'll work somewhere. And if you're helping other people learn how to do that, or that they even can, again, it's incremental, is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. Our progress is really, incremental.
Really trying to set that one up.
I really am. Hey, Christina.
You can have the drinking game, okay? The So Local drinking game. Every time he says incrementalism, anything like that, take a shot.
Okay. Christina Quinn, Central Floridians for Social Equality is my organization on the other coast of Florida. Right on. Yeah. You also, she says she is got a late start as an activist. So
activism at 40.
You got, when shit's on fire, you have to grab a bucket.
There's literally never a bad time, because if you weren't doing it, start doing it. Anytime you start doing it is the right time to start doing it.
Yup. Okay, so some people I want to thank before we get too much further into the conversation today. Our friend Kelly Smith at Kelly Smith Realty. You may remember her from her multiple runs at local office here in Pasco County. She's an amazing person. What I love about Kelly is that she deep dives into things, so she knows all the wheres and the what's and wherefores of whatever she's doing. And with a background history in actual land use justification in another county in Florida, she really took to the real estate thing like a duck to water. She's doing a great job. She wants to talk to you whether you're ready to sell your house or not, because there are things you could be doing to make your house more valuable for when it is time to sell, things you should probably understand about the intricacies of the mortgage market that a realtor can help you with well before it's time to put a for sale sign in the yard. So you can get Kelly Smith's information from our page, or you can message me and I will hook you up with her directly. She's an outstanding human being and one of our favorite people, and she is a sponsor of this here Facebook live broadcast. So thank you very much, Kelly Smith, for your support of what we're doing. Advertising with us is really more like a hybrid between commercial and PBS, in that we're just covering expenses and trying to make the show go, put gas in the tank so we can interview people further from home, things like that, get more exposure. So we also have some people to thank on Patreon. I've been, I haven't been really good at doing Patreon in the past, and I turned it on this time and made a bit of an effort, and we have 6 people now supporting us on Patreon. Rachel, our friend Rachel Hagabaugh, who is supporting us all the way from South Dakota, or one of the Dakotas. I don't know. Thank you, Rachel, very much for that. Cesar Garcia, who's been a guest on the show. You don't need to be a Patreon supporter to be a guest on the show, but it wouldn't hurt. Also, Maria Mandry, who I don't know. This is somebody who's new to us. So probably picked us up randomly from her Facebook feed. Thank you, Maria. We appreciate it. Our friend Jen Eichenberger, who you know from the comments here on this show. And also her brother Dave is the guitarist of the Julie Black Band, an amazing human being. Local people really deeply entrenched in our local art and culture scene here, such as it is in Pasco County. So thank you very much, Jennifer. Dan Antonino, a name you might recognize as a former Rowdies podcaster, super fan, Liverpool super fan, and also once a candidate for state legislature up here in Pasco. And Fred Eater, who's in the comments today. Fred is a podcaster himself, does a great show called Fred's Front Porch Podcast, where he spins yarns every week. Sometimes they are personal, sometimes they are political. They are always warm and heartfelt. So thank you, Fred, for passing my $10 back to me so I can pass it back to you later in the month on your Patreon account. We appreciate that. So there you go. That's all the business part out of the way. We're doing the show now Monday evening. 6 o'clock seems to be a time that's working out for us. So thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. We would really love it if you would share the link to the show out to your feed. Be brave, because people are going to give you shit for what you watch and listen to. You might as well own it. and we'll be happy to come to your Facebook thread about it and argue on your behalf. We'll tell your friends they're assholes, even if you won't. So that's our offer to you. So please share, and we thank you for your continued viewing of the show. Numbers are good. We're loving it. Incrementalism. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about. I feel like we do like every other episode, man. Let's get into it. You have this Twitter thread you are very excited about. I saw you send it to me while I was driving home. I haven't had a chance to read it, so this is virgin eyes here.
Okay, this is from a Twitter person named the harmless artist Dunhill Page. Gather around, kids, and I'll explain to you why incremental progress is a good thing. So you voted in the last election and didn't get everything you voted for. Heck, maybe you've already voted in 2 elections and you still haven't gotten what you voted for. See, Sam, this is aimed at people that have only a couple of elections under their belt.
Are you going to throw it up on the screen, or?
I guess I could.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a. Let's see. It's a it's a Twitter thread, so I'm not sure how readable it's going to be. But I'm going to scroll through it. The notion that voting works like a vending machine is a subject that requires its own thread, but this is not that thread. All you've seen for your vote is a few bills that didn't go far enough, so you're angry and disillusioned, and you're done with the whole voting thing, or at least done voting for Democrats. There's one critically important fact. There is one critically important fact is likely to keep that we would like you to keep in mind. There are millions of Americans who actually want the exact opposite of what you want. Really, they don't want gun control. They don't want anyone to have abortion rights or marriage equality or criminal justice reform or police reform. They don't want racial justice. They don't want a higher minimum wage. They don't want student loan forgiveness. I can go on, but you get the picture. People are different. They may be racist. They may be misogynist or homophobic. They may just be stupid, but they believe what they believe. And just like you, they have the right to vote, and they vote for people who think like they do and think like they do to represent them. They elect people who are dedicated to opposing things that you want because their voters elected them to get what they want. And they're doing that at the exact time that people you elected are doing the same thing, fighting for what their voters want. It's a battle. It's a tug of war, but with very high stakes. That's democracy. For all the beauty of democratic ideals, the actual practice is still messy and ugly. Democracy means everyone has a say, including people who hate everything that's most important to you. Politics has accurately been described as the art of the possible. To be an effective politician requires a unique skill set. Remember, it's a battle. An effective politician has to be able to assess the field and the strength of the opposition, to assess their own side's strengths and allies, to understand strategy, tactics, timing, arcane procedural rituals. It's a lot. And when all of this is assessed, the politician determines what is possible and works to take that particular hill. The opposition, of course, is doing the same thing. The end result of any given battle over legislation is the best it could be given. It could be, given all those factors. It's invariably less than one side wanted and invariably a bitter loss for the other. Under the leadership of Nancy Pelosi, House Democrats have been able to use the majority to pass a raft of progressive legislation. Yes, sometimes less than they wanted, but the goal is to pass what they can win. It's different in the Senate where Dems don't really have a majority. On paper, it's a tie, but only if every single Democrat votes the same way. And I get it. This is where a lot of young people get disillusioned. You wanted more. We all do. And some of us have for a very long time. But in a democracy, there's no single decisive blow that will permanently crush the other side. The other side always exists and always will. And that's why you don't just quit when you're disillusioned, because when you stop fighting for what you want, they will end up getting what they want. End of thread.
Okay. That was a lot. I was like, it just kept going and going.
Yeah, no.
Well, yeah, it's
Greg
only
will do this sometimes on episodes. He will find a Twitter thread, and we will find out it's much longer than we thought.
Okay.
Well, come on. That was, 4 minutes? Come on.
I know. I'm just fucking.
You short attention span TikTok kids.
Well, hey, I am not a kid, but we do have the youth right here. We have a 20-year-old activist here. Harrison, what do you think about that thread, man?
My first question is, I want to know how old the person was who made the thread, because it was very much like, you young people.
It felt very condescending.
not necessarily condescending. It did a little bit, but I was thinking more so of just like, you know, I'm from an older generation, so I know what you want. You know what I mean? Because when I was your age, I wanted this. You know, it doesn't work like that. Also, I would argue Nancy Pelosi is not progressive.
I mean,
Fair.
So I don't know why
I would
she
argue
was
Nancy
pulled in with a
Pelosi is not a
progressive.
progressive.
Okay, so then why? Okay, but what she's done though is shepherd some pretty progressive packages through the House.
Yeah.
So she's doing the work, even though she's not a progressive, because she, I think, understands that the younger demographic in democracy is it's time for them to have their say. And so I see that as a kind of like almost a mentoring process of the younger members of the House. You know, she did not have people arrested when they came and protested in her office for climate change policy change last year. Could have done, didn't. Right?
Yeah.
Was, you know, brought them coffee,
Isn't that
things
a
like that.
very low bar?
Sure,
Not
okay, but
arresting children.
stuff is getting done, and I'm gonna play the old guy card because I'm 58. All right, and I told a story in a Facebook post this morning that when I'm gonna have to say 21 years old, because I was 2 years out of high school, and I had not yet gotten sober, so this was a pretty cloudy time in my life. My high school friend Bruce Vandiver, who had actually known since junior high school. My friend Bruce Vandiver was gay in the little tiny community of Hudson, Florida, which is, you know, we have an active Klan chapter in Hudson, Florida. This is not, even now, this is not any kind of a safe place for people to be gay. Okay, it's better now. It's better now, and I want to make sure that when someone plays this hand like the Harmless Artist did, part of it is that we've seen 20, 30 election cycles. You know, Bruce Vandiver died of AIDS in 1984, 85. And he died alone, although he had help from a friend of mine that was going and checking on him all the time, because his family disowned him, kicked him out of the trailer on their property he was living on because he was a sinner, and AIDS was his punishment for his sin. A lot has changed for young gay men since 1984, when my friend Bruce Vandiver died. And it changed because we insisted. We kept insisting. We kept remembering that people like my friend Bruce didn't have anything other than their born family. Okay? Yeah. And there was no community of support for him. There was one mutual friend of ours that cared for Bruce in his final months. But my point is that now Bruce would have gotten care. Right? Bruce could have married and had a spouse that would inherit from him when he died, which is something else that I watched happen to people in the 80s who were gay. When they died, their families swooped in. Their families that condemned them and hated them for who they were took everything from their partner. At the worst possible time in that person's life, they lost all of their possessions because they had no legal recourse for those things. That's changed. A lot has changed, and it took a very, very long time. And it seemed like nothing was ever going to change till suddenly it did. But the work of getting enough people elected to be in the seat to vote on the day, that happened because of incremental change. And I don't like it. I want things to change right now. I'm extraordinarily frustrated at how my county has mishandled a catastrophic level of homelessness. And for a while, Pasco County was second only to Miami-Dade County in the raw number of homeless people. They have about 20 times our population. And we had nearly as many homeless people up here as they had in Dade County. Now, that's getting better, but I've watched them self-congratulate for creating 14 shelter beds in a calendar year up here, almost none of which went for single homeless people. They went for families. And so I'm watching this catastrophic bungling, and I want to scream at them. And the reason I don't go to the hearings anymore and the county commission workshops and things like that is because I'm too angry about it. I don't have the patience for it. There are people in that process who are very patient, and they're getting big shit done up here on that particular issue, but only because they took the little bit that they could get when they could get it, and they added onto that and added onto that. So we're going to get to a place where that problem isn't gone, but it's also not devastatingly embarrassing to be from the county that has so badly bungled the homelessness issue. So you see, my point is, I think what this person is saying in this Twitter thread is, progressive things are happening, even though progressives don't appear to be in charge. And we're making some progress. And it's never going to be enough. But that's not when we get disillusioned to walk away from these conversations and these fights. It's when we dig in and we root for, we support, we phone bank for, we knock doors for people we know that if they do get elected are going to be in the chair on the right day to make these good things happen. I'm done for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, you want to pick up that thread?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you.
I was.
It's okay to
thinking-
tell me I'm wrong, Harrison. I'm not that authoritarian guy.
I do it all the
No,
time.
you're
It's
good.
great.
You're good. My thing is like, kind of like what I see in like spaces I'm in. You know, you can attack whatever politician, you can unseat whatever politician. The system that allowed that politician to be is still there. You know what I mean? And like I like to say this a lot just to remind people that system was founded on literal violence. You know what I mean? The reason we have a government, well, maybe not the reason we have a government, but the foundation of it was built on like colonization and violence. And so when I think about like myself being in office, I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. I get to be progressive or whatever. But then there's kind of like that kind of over my head all the time. So to be honest with you, a lot of the people I talk to, especially who are my age, kind of envision a society where we don't necessarily need something like that, right? Because of what it was built upon. If we can make a new society like that, maybe, I don't know. But I was kind of thinking of that, especially as it relates to, you know, speaking of the queer community, like monkeypox right now, you know, the CDC has been terrible in its messaging with monkeypox, still basically, you know, in so many words saying it's a gay disease.
Right.
And like people have called them out on it. I think they actually may have removed some of the wording or changed it or whatever. And like that worked. But the fact that they were able to bring about that language in the first place is the problem. And I know plenty of people in the spaces that I talk to, you know, we're coming after that more than we're coming after the CDC, which I think is in some ways better. You know what I mean? Because after the CDC is gone for whatever reason and that system's still there, that created the CDC, another CDC is just going to come through. You know what I mean? Same
Right.
with the Trump presidency, you know, the system that allowed Donald Trump to be one, as rich as he was, and two, the president still exists. So there's no reason, or there's no telling what the next president nominee, especially on the Republican side, could be. It could be another Donald Trump. It could be
No,
Donald
it's going to
Trump
be Ron
again,
DeSantis.
You know?
It's going to be Ron
another
DeSantis.
Donald Trump.
AKA another Donald Trump who's just a little more covert with how he's
Right.
an asshole.
A little nicer
You know.
about it. Yeah.
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 He's
That's
not
my 2
as
cents.
antagonistic to
Yeah.
everyone.
He's just a
as
fella.
Trump is.
He's just a guy, bro.
Same shit, if not
Person.
worse. But
Yeah.
he's more calculated, which is scarier, honestly, than somebody who shows their hand right away. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's my input.
Gotcha. Sam?
Yeah. I mean, you know how I feel about this. Like I understand incrementalism as a strategy, and I'll say what I've been saying is that's fine and dandy, but the people that this line of thinking are usually trying to defend, I think, are bad at incrementalism. They've had power. Democrats held the House for like 50 years before they lost it in 94. We've held it a couple times since. We've had pretty vast moments of political power, and I don't think that we've really been wielding it effectively if we're committing to incrementalism. We're seeing it in how many ways we've been outplayed and how many fundamental rights for the queer community in particular now are being threatened. I don't think that's a good, I don't think it's a good defense of current democratic leadership. I'm not necessarily knocking incrementalism because, like, again, I'm not blind. I've seen that Republicans have been doing it and that it's been effective. I'm trying to be macro here as like, why are we even having the conversation? What are we defending when we defend incrementalism? Well, we're defending Nancy Pelosi. You know, Nancy Pelosi.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not. I don't think I set out to defend incrementalism as a
I'm not saying
strategy.
that you are
Right.
Well, who are you defending then? Like, why are we talking about it?
I just want us to recognize progress when it happens and not let the perfect be the enemy of the good, right?
No, I agree with that. I
Yeah.
hear you.
And
on
frankly,
that,
you know, if we're going to, I understand the tendency to want to say, oh, you know, they've had the majority in the past and haven't done much. Well, it's pretty clear right now that the house is on fucking fire. You know, that you know,
yeah,
it's grab a bucket and save democracy time, not just whatever our issue of the moment is. You know, none of which are unimportant, but the
yeah,
overarching concern right now is that if we don't win 2 more Senate seats and expand the majority in the House, they're going to, from their minority position using the Supreme Court, take away more things that we give a shit about. So this is the worst possible time to get disillusioned and dip out of the electoral process. And I feel like I just have to trust that the urgency is visible to members of Congress as it is to us. And I think that's true now. I don't think that's always been true, but I think it's true now.
I don't trust that. That's my thing. Is I don't trust that they are understanding that all of our feet are to the fire right now. I don't see that kind of urgency as much as I would like to. Weirdly, a little bit more on the Senate side. I don't know about the House. I don't know about Democrats as a whole.
Okay, was there a but there? It sounded like you were going somewhere else with that. I don't know.
No, not really.
Okay. Well,
I think it's just annoying to get like with a third text of the day, like, "Hey, you got $15."
Yeah,
my campaign.
Tax.
Like, I don't know. That just feels like so like
Right.
removed from reality.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Right.
the people who are voting for you, you don't know if they don't have $15 to get to your campaign. That might not even win. You know what I mean?
I also think that in terms of incrementalism, a lot of the wins that the argument is trying to back up and defend, a lot of those things I don't think were legally enshrined or protected in particular ways. We never codified Roe v. Wade. We never codified gay marriage. There's a lot of just little things where it feels like Democrats will use the excuse of incrementalism. They will call a victory, and then they'll just kind of move on ahead. And that's not incrementalism. Republicans gain ground, they get their wins, and then they enshrine that shit. They make it difficult to untangle. So this excuse of like the house is on fire, it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. The house is on fire because Republican incrementalism is that good. It is so hard to undo the messes that they made and the changes that they made, and they still have this kind of power. And Democrats, it's not. Obama's progressive, I'm using air quotes here because I don't think he was that progressive even. A lot of his gains were undid like immediately. Democratic gains from the 70s were undone kind of the moment Republicans figured out the move. The moment they had a strategy, done.
So what's the counter to that?
I mean, the counter would have been a more effective Democratic Party for the last couple decades, but we don't have a time machine.
Right. I mean, you're right about the Republicans being better at this, because if it worked the other way, we would have passed the ERA by now. That would have been our 50-year fight.
And that's what I'm saying. And my issue now is that we don't have time for incrementalism. I'm worried about Harrison's generation. They do not have time to build bases and benches. They don't have time to get one bill passed or compromise on a bill to get another bill. Like, the planet's dying right now. Harrison and I were outside today. We're outside every day for work, man. Tampa had its hottest July on record this year. Okay?
Broke all-time records yesterday and the day before.
It was 108 degrees out today. Like, I don't know if my kids are going to have an earth to live on. Like, that's the thing that I now have to take. I have to do this calculus in my brain when I'm thinking about starting a family. Like, things are dire. We don't have time for incrementalism. So in terms of what to do, like, I do think that bold action is required, and I still believe in voting, but we got to stop letting people use the incrementalism defense to excuse not meeting the moment. You know, like, and I think it can be done, because if Joe Manchin is actually able to budge, as we've just seen, I think that with pressure, we can get all of them moving in the way that we need.
I guess we still have to see if that's actually going to pass.
Yeah,
in the
hey,
Senate.
Yeah.
but the thing is, they're actually looking into using the reconciliation process, which would only require Democratic votes. Essentially, we do have the votes for that. The only roadblock I see is Cinema and Mansions making headlines yesterday that she just needs to go with it and trust that it's a good bill. And
Right.
honestly, I read it over. It's a pretty good bill. It doesn't quite meet the moment, but man, I mean, like you want to talk about compromise? That's a compromise that's okay, I think.
Right. If it
I think
passes,
that
it will make Biden the most progressive president since FDR.
Oh God, I hate hearing that.
I know you
Okay.
do, but
Can we stop using
come at me,
progressive
bro?
to just mean like better?
What's the
'Cause
argument?
they're
What's
not-
the counter argument to that being true?
He's not a progressive in any way. This is like
If,
Oh, yeah,
neither
no,
is
no,
Nancy
no.
Pelosi, but if progressive things happen while he is the president,
I mean, liberal things happened.
I'm
I don't
gonna
know.
I'm gonna
Oh,
jump
okay.
in here. I'm
okay,
gonna
Harrison.
jump in and say something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
jump on in, man.
The way the best way I think to combat incrementalism, besides from just like bold action or whatever, is to get money out of elections. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Aside from the like, I mean, if you're gonna pay your canvassers to like do work for you, that's one thing. But like, Manchin is funded by like plenty of fossil fuel industries.
Oh, yeah.
No, like he is no longer with us in terms of Democrat or whatever. Also, why do you need money to run for office? I thought you just need to be a certain age and be born or like in the country. Like I thought those were the only two things. I don't understand why or where or how relevant money is at all. If people
Can I
actually
take you back on this? Because this reminds me of something I just saw today, and it's been on my mind. A couple months ago, I found out that Florida has this very oft overlooked program where essentially they will match donations and provide public money to candidates. So Ron DeSantis has been actually getting a lot of Florida like state money to his campaign. And today, Charlie Crist himself got a lot of state money to his campaign. And it's just a weird, very weird thought because of all of these small organic candidates that I've known who have ran for municipal or state house. I don't know that any of them have ever gotten money from this program. Charlie Crist doesn't need that. Ron DeSantis certainly doesn't fucking need that. I'm very confused about it. Greg, did you know about this program? Did you know that there was a way that candidates can technically get public money in the state of Florida to run?
I think I remember from when I ran for mayor that there was a section of the 29 pages of stuff that I needed to fill out to run for mayor that was an offer to assist, but it requires you to say you're poor right there on the form. Basically, it's for low income people was how I understood
like
what I was reading.
Yeah. Well,
so I don't know if that's the same
Charlie
thing.
Crist is struggling.
Right. And think about it. Even in running for mayor of my town, I took enough of a beating for being a renter, not an owner in my city. Right. So it would have been really. I did not want to fill that paperwork out and have them then come say, "Oh, look, he had to get money from the government to even run. He's just going to be a giant leech off the system." Blah blah blah. I didn't want to have that argument. I ended up having it anyway, so I should have just gone ahead and checked the goddamn box, but I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So there's that. Fred Eater, absolutely nail on the head here. Number one on the list of things to do: remove money from elections, overturn Citizens United. Yeah. But now we've lost the Supreme Court, so it's unlikely that anything that does get passed is gonna remain that way. So
yeah, that's why I think money in politics is trash, especially in Florida. Florida Democratic Party, if they're giving you money, they're not necessarily donating to you. Okay, what I've noticed is they're just investing in you.
Right.
Which is, from what I'm seeing, which is like just such a corporate practice. Like, why can't you just give them money because they're a Democrat? I thought that's
both Sam and I are having this, this out of the mouths of babes moment because
like that's why they might give like because like I'm a socialist, okay, so that's why if I was running against like Charlie Crist or something, they would give money to Charlie Crist even if I ran as a Democrat. Would they give me any money? No. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Like.
Right.
No.
Well, let me ask. Sam probably knows from having seen this firsthand. Richie Floyd, did he get any money from the Florida Dems?
I believe he might have after the primary, because the thing is, he ran against someone that was more of like a corporate Dem type, but that guy had run independent. And what's funny is
Right.
Richie was then able to do the blue no matter who shtick and say, well, I'm the only Democrat on the ballot. I heard him say that at a Democratic meeting. I'm the only Democrat on the ballot.
Wow.
I don't know if he got that money. That's actually a thing
Okay.
that we can very quickly look at.
Yeah.
The
All right.
fact
That's
that he
worth
had to
knowing.
say that to get any money.
I'm going
That's
to
what
drop a link. Yeah, I'm going to drop a
bothers
link
me.
in the comments here, and I wanted to mention this earlier in the show. Forgot about it briefly, but James Washington, who was a guest on our show last week, is running for school board in Pasco
Yes.
County. He runs for a specific district, but the election for school board is countywide. So if you are a Pasco County voter, you will have James Washington on your ballot. And they're doing a candidate forum for school board candidates tonight at 7:00. So we're going to wrap up pretty quickly because we don't want anybody to miss that. District 1, there's James and the two guys running against him. What you really want to watch for when you watch this thing tonight is watch for the virtue signaling or the dog whistles signaling to the Patriot Parents Front of America, whoever the hell they are, the people that keep showing up and running down the lives of
They're called
our
Moms
gay
for
and trans
Liberty.
kids. Moms for Liberty. Sorry, I
Yeah.
get my my People's Popular Front for the whatever terms mixed up. But yeah, there's a couple of candidates that are just outspokenly Moms for Liberty candidates, and we need to defeat them at all costs. The bad news is the people running against them are sort of not much better. And so, the one candidate on your ballot in Pasco County for school board this month that we will wholeheartedly endorse is James Washington, and you can watch him in a live candidate forum coming up. I just put the link in the comments for those that want to tune into that at 7. That I'm fine with doing a little bit of a short show here if you guys are. I like that Fred Eater is jumping in with the Monty Python Life of Brian quotes, because that's exactly where I was going with all that. What are we watching tonight? Yeah, it's a candidate forum for school board candidates. Lori, I put the link up in the comments, so you should be able to see it there. All right. Anything else you guys want to chit chat about for I don't know, 4 more minutes, 5 more minutes?
We could. I'm just pulling up Richie's file right now in St. Pete's Easy Campaign Finance Portal. That's actually what it's called, the Easy Campaign Finance Portal.
Okay.
Yeah. No, hey, listen, man. Joe Rogan can fact check his bullshit live on air. So can we.
Right. Heather, our friend Heather St. Amon Klein is in the comments with pretty pleased with Sugar on Top. Let people know about the Florida Medical Board meeting in Fort Lauderdale on Friday. I am phone banking to turn people out on Wednesday. Transgender affirming care is in jeopardy. This is the state looking to remove, if I have this correct, children and adults on Medicaid from getting care, trans affirming care under the Medicaid program. I'm pretty sure I have that right. That's a terrible thing. That would mean people that are transitioning that need our support. As the story I started to tell at the very top. We're going to circle back around here. Bruce, some of us are ready to die on the hill of making sure that our trans and gay young people don't get left isolated to die. That they have support and acceptance. And support and acceptance was not free. Or not freely given. We fought for it. We watched our gay friends die. And I don't ever want a generation of young people to feel as alone as those friends felt. And the way we do that is we show up for things like Heather is banging the drum for. We show up, we let them know it's not okay. We show up at the school board meetings and we let them know it's not okay to tell trans kids they don't matter, they don't exist. That's not how we want. I'm not ever going to let that happen again. And I know many of you feel the same way. So get involved, vote, encourage other people to vote, knock doors. Don't be an incrementalist. Shoot hard for the most progressive things we can get. And when we have to compromise, understand that it's a long, long game. And I've seen a lot more election cycles than both of you guys put together, probably. And I really thought Jimmy Carter was going to legalize weed. So I've been waiting a long time for some of those things. All right, you guys got anything before we close?
No, I think we're good, and we'll have another normal episode soon.
Beautiful. Yeah. We're working on other guests. People are in flux right now. Lots of campaigns going on.
Yes.
We
Yes.
have primaries coming up here shortly. Mail-in ballots are going out. I haven't gotten mine yet, but I know that some folks have. So maybe next week, Sam, what we should try to do is focus on judicial candidates, because that's one of the things
Well,
people just don't know.
I'm glad that you're bringing that up. Last episode, I did say that you needed to hold me to it, and I needed to finish all of our chain slate, voter slate cards for all the counties we're hitting. They are done. They're being made. It is coming. So technically, I win. Fuck you. I did the thing.
Well, we could do a second show this week if you've got the time. So if you want to come back on Thursday, maybe do
Let's
that.
do a second show.
All right. I like it. All right. So thank you very much for joining us today, Harrison. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're every bit as impressive as Sam told me to expect you to be. So yeah, come back anytime. And this is what I want it to be. I want us to have a rotating band of merry troublemakers who come in and help us find ways to get in good trouble. And
I'll try and get more people my age.
Oh yeah, I absolutely would love that.
That would be nice.
That way I can yell at all of you at the same time instead of just individually.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sounds good.
Sam, what do you got to close us out? Anything going on that we need to know about this week?
Anything going on? Yes, there is something big going on. We need everyone that lives in Tampa or anything even consider Tampa to show up to Tampa City Council on Thursday morning. That's going to be around 8:45 a.m. because Mayor Jane Castor is going to be presenting her budget for the city to City Council live in person. The real deal, Mayor Jane. And the budget is not good because we are in a rent crisis and we are still giving one of the absolute biggest police budgets in the country to Tampa Police Department. And as Harrison can attest to, they're not really known for doing their jobs well. We have a lot of thoughts about that. So we are needing to just bring out as many people as possible to make it clear that we do not support Mayor Jane. We do not support this budget, and we need defund. We have pressing needs in Tampa, and no amount of shiny new condos is going to make us forget that. There are working people here, and we're not just going to go to Hernando. We're not just going to all move to Pasco because you guys need your space. And I like you guys having your space over there. You don't need me as a neighbor.
We're shaped than y'all are.
Exactly. People deserve to live here. Working people deserve to live in Tampa, not get shot in Tampa, be protected and feel safe in Tampa. And that's what we're going to do. So as many organizations as possible, we're all going to be there. Heather and For Our Future are going to be there. Restorative Justice Coalition is going to be there. Everyone's going to be there. We're going to be there. Come on out. Come hang.
Is this a Vox Pop opportunity for people to speak, or you just need the show of support?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. We can do both. And I tell you what.
So for anybody who's never been out to a thing like this, right? There'll be people there to hold your hand and show you, how to approach the podium, what you need to write down on the sheet, what you don't have to write down on the sheet, and you have an opportunity to speak to the Tampa City Council and show support for people that are really struggling with rent right now. The people. The whole idea of all of this is the people, and you have an opportunity to come and defend that. So, all right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I think that's going to do it. Again, thank you, Kelly Smith, Realtor. If you just search that on Facebook, you're going to find her ad, her picture, her page. She's also on TikTok. She makes really cool little open house videos on TikTok. Who would have thought that in this day and age? That's going to do it for Solo Live. Again, thank you to all the folks that contributed on Patreon. You can still do that. In fact, I should probably show that link up here, shouldn't I? You'd think that would be a thing I should do. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
You haven't been doing the thing.
I have not been doing the thing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been painting.
Please give us money. Give us money, and then maybe we will make the intro work a little bit better each time.
We promised to spend 80% less on hookers and blow this year than we did last year.
God! Wow,
that's a
lot of people. I wanted.
Well, 80% is a pretty hefty cut considering the amount of hookers and blow I did last year, which is zero. Wow. But anyway, we thank you for your Patreonage and your sponsorship support. If you would like to do that, you can click on the link in the thread and contribute. And that's going to do it for the show this week. I think we're going to try and do another show. Probably Thursday is probably the best day for me. How about you, Sam?
Yeah. Thursday could work. We will be fresh from City Council that day.
All right, so we'll get a slate card together and we'll talk about local choices on your ballot, and you guys can ask questions in the comments, and we'll try and answer them as best we can. We love you all very much. We thank you for joining us. I almost said you're very special people. I'm not going to do that because that's pretty crass. But what we will
special
say,
people. We love you.
That's
You're
right.
great.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Hey, how
Trump.
about that?
I can't do it.
How about that funeral? How about that grave spot? Isn't that great? Where
Dude, you
Ivana...
sent me a meme about it, and I didn't know what it was, and then I saw mentioned it on Twitter. I said, "Oh fuck, that's a thing. That's a thing."
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Where
I was
Ivana
like,
Trump was buried on the 3rd fairway of Bedminster, so Trump gets a tax break because it's now a cemetery.
He buried his ex-wife, who he fundraised off of. To be clear, she died, and he put out a statement that was like, "We're all really sad here. We need some money,
and we can't show up in court in New York because we're brokenhearted."
Oh my god!
Yeah,
right. Yeah, so
That
he
is so-
buried his
Oh my
ex-wife
God.
on a golf course.
Well,
for
to
the
be
tax
fair,
write-off.
it's like when you see the picture of it, it looks really sparse and bare and awful. It's going to be better when they finish it because it's going to have that cool little windmill that you have to putt under. So that'll be good.
I'm
All
sorry,
right.
that's not funny.
yeah,
No,
it is.
it is funny. It is
Oh
funny.
my god!
All right, we love you all very much. We will see you later in the week with a local slate card of electors to talk about some of the choices we have and some of the choices we wish we had, knowing that about a third of Florida state legislative seats are going without an opponent this year. That's pretty grim, but I think nationally the wind may be blowing our way. We'll see, and we'll see you later in the week with that, and then again on Monday with our regular show. Thanks for joining us. So Local Live, Florida for Change, and thank you, Harrison Lundy, for joining us. And don't forget, Sasquatch is real.